Welcome to this episode of Learning Fusion. In today's episode, we're going to be covering compositing using Deep Pixel images. So let's roll this intro and let's get into it.
We're learning Fusion together. We'll learn 2D stuff and 3D stuff and particle stuff and compositing stuff, Deep Pixel stuff and tracking stuff, but not other stuff, but some other cool stuff, because we're learning Fusion together.
So in the past, we've been covering compositing using standard images, and when we do stuff like render out a 3D scene, we were rendering multiple layers so we could stack those layers on top and composite them together with different live footage in it. Now, compositing with Deep Pixel information is much, much better. And there's many reasons for this, because basically when we render out a Deep Pixel image, we're rendering out all kinds of information that's attached to each individual pixel. And I'll show you here in a second what that does, but just keep in mind that your typical renderers do not render deep image data, like true deep image data. And there's only a few, like Redshift, Arnold, Octane, I think Renderman does, and I know Mantra from Houdini does, but Blender does not. There's a workaround. You can just export your ZDepth pass and it kind of works, but it's really not true deep pixel data. So let's get into this and I'll show you what I mean. Now, I did upload this footage here for you guys to use because it may be hard for you to come by some Deep Pixel info or Deep Pixel stuff if you can't render it out. So all this is this is just a still image, one single little Deep EXR of this little scene I created in Blender, rendered out with Redshift using Deep Pixel. And if we go to our little format here, you can see our channels just have the RGBA, the Z, and the Z back. That's all we're running through. But if you notice up here, our image output mode is deep image. Typically it would be a flat image, but this is deep image, meaning it's pushing through that deep image pixel data. So to be able to use Deep Pixel compositing within Fusion, we have a whole bunch of nodes to use. If we go to our little effects tab here and we scroll down and find deep image, you can see all the nodes that we use for deep image compositing. And I covered every single one of these independently in our little node breakdowns. So if you want in-depth breakdowns of what all these do, you can check those out. Because today I'm just going to show you generally how to use Deep Pixel compositing. So first thing we need to do is we need to tell this little scene here that we want it to be Deep Pixel instead of just this. So to be able to do that, we can just grab our little demerge. And this is going to be our staple of everything that's happening within our little Deep Pixel world here. So if I input my demerge and I look, you can see it's really doing nothing different and we can't see anything different. Now there's two parts to this. So when we're compositing, we composite everything around this demerge. But to be able to see what's really happening with our Deep Pixel data, we need to introduce some of our 3D stuff, which I know I haven't covered yet. We will, but we need to introduce some of this so we can kind of see what's going on in our scene. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a Merge 3D. I'm going to bring in a camera. And I'm going to bring in a, not a spotlight. I'm going to bring in our render node here. And I'm going to input that to our render. And on a render, I'm just going to make sure I'm rendering my lighting and my shadows. I'm not going to connect my camera yet because we need to connect this somewhere else. But on my little Merge 3D here, I'm going to also add an ambient light. So Shift Space, Ambient Light, add it, and I'm just going to plug it into my little Merge 3D here. Now, when it comes to actually compositing, we're not using this to go out to say like our media out, which where is my media out? Shift Space, Media Out. Let me grab it, Media Out here. So I can just stick it down here so we can see what's going on. Now, when I'm done compositing, everything I composite is going to go to my media out. None of this 3D stuff is going to be used to go to our media out. This is just here as a tool so we can actually composite in the 3D world. Now, you can come out if you want because even on our little render here, we have output type, whether we want it to be an image or a deep image. We can technically render everything out of here, but this is just extra stuff that needs to render in our little 3D or our Fusion to be able to export what we need to export. So we'll just run it out of here. So how this works is I need to turn my little image into points to be recognized on my 3D area here. And the way we do that is we use deep to points. So if I grab a deep to points and I input it into my little merge 3D here, and this is where my camera is going to get plugged into. So I'm going to go from my camera to my deep to points because this is what we want our camera actually focusing on. Now, if I look at our merge 3D, we don't really see anything going on, but if I take our little demerge here and I plug it into my deep to points, as soon as I do, you can see we can see our entire scene in the 3D world. So if I kind of pan around a little bit, you can see that's our little render of our scene in the 3D world. And there we go. So what it's doing is just breaking it down on that deep pixel level so we can kind of see what's going on with our little scene there. So you can see the statues, the bushes, all the little vases, and way off in the distance, we can see the sky, these trees in the back. So that is our deep pixel data. Now we can use this instead of using our typical compositing stuff to put stuff on top or behind things. We can actually place things anywhere we want in this little 3D area of our deep pixel data. So for example, let's say, and let me disconnect our media out for right now. We've got this keyed out footage of this girl and we want to put her in the scene. So this is just a basic 2D image, but we can use this in the deep pixel world as well. And to be able to do that, I can just go behind my little delta key here that I already got. And I can go to my effects so we can see what options we have. And I can go from image to deep. So this is going from a regular image to deep pixel information. And it's not necessarily adding that deep pixel data. It's just adding that Z-def information to that image. So if I add this, you can see it looks the same, but now we get this little Z scale and this Z offset so we can change it around. And if I plug this straight into my little demerge right now, and we look, she's bam, just there. And I can change my Z offset to put her wherever I want in that little world. But this isn't very intuitive, so we've got another deep pixel node to help us move this around correctly and resize it. So if I take or de-transform, this is what this allows us to do, to transform our image in the little 3D world. So if we look at our 3D merge, you can see, well, you can't see because she's way up here by our camera. But if I take this de-transform and I move her back, you can start seeing her pop into that image. So there she is. She's popped in an image. So let's say we want to move her. And let's look at our original scene here. Let's say we want to move her behind this bush, but in front of this vase and this statue. Now, if we were to do that in the real compositing world, we would have to block all this bush out and do a whole bunch of masking and all kinds of crazy stuff. But using Deep Pixel, we can just put her there and it's automatically going to happen. So let's look at our little merge here, and we're going to zoom in and find where we want her. We want her right here, kind of in front of this vase or this urn or whatever it is, right here in the bushes. So first let's get our Z-depth correct. So we can just move this and place her where we want her. That's a little too far. And yeah, this is a little laggy, just so you know, but there we go. She's now sitting in front of that vase and in that bush right there. So now we can go here and kind of look where she's at. And here we probably want to double up so we can look at our demerge over here. Let's go ahead and fit that. And then over here we can kind of see what's going on and move our character around and manipulate it. So I can click over here and just drag her over if I want. But before I really start dragging her, and you notice she's going right behind those bushes, I need to transform her size because she's a little large for this. And right down here on this detransform, we've got size, so we can just change her size up, shrink her down so she's not so large, make it look like she belongs in this scene here. So there we go. Now we can move her over in that little bush. She's off to the side hiding. If I zoom in here, if you look, you notice her feet are kind of in that grass. There's no masking anything I have to do. It's just there and it's good to go. So I can move her over, and I'll probably move her down a little bit because that ground is a little lower. Not that low. There we go. And if you notice, we've got our vase kind of going over her leg. So we need to go here and we need to move her forward a little bit. And that happened because we shrunk her size down and it moved her on that Z axis. So we just go to our little Z translate here and we can move her up a little bit. Not that far, maybe 14.2. There we go. She's there out of that urn and we're good. But notice she's behind that bush. And we do have one bush kind of cutting her. So maybe we'll change that to 14.35. There we go. A little better. But you get the picture. So now we've got her in there and we didn't have to do any masking or anything. We just used our little Z depth to place her in there. And we can do other things, like we can add some flames if we want, coming out of these little urns. So right here, we've got this little keyed out footage of some flames. And we can do the same thing. You can hit Shift Space, Image to Deep. So now we're turning that into a deep image. And again, it looks the same. And of course, we want to throw a detransform. So Shift Space, detransform. And we're just going to plug that right into our little demerge. And if we zoom out, our flames are probably way up here. So we can go to this transform and we can bring our flames back, and there they are right there. And it's going to look a little weird because we've got this keyed out and our key is still going to show up in these pixels. So don't fret, it's not going to be in our final, because if we look at this, you can see it's still keyed out. So now all we have to do is place our flames where we want our flames. So we want them over here in this little urn. So we need to bring it forward. If we turn that, we can zoom in to see what we're doing here. And our urn is right here. So we can change this Z depth to bring it up, and too far. But before I really bring it up, I want to change that size. So let's resize this, make it smaller so it fits in our little urn there. There we go. Can bring it over. We can bring it over, and it's back a little far, so we can bring that up 7.6 maybe, 7.7 maybe. And there we go. It's in the middle of our urn, but it's still down a little far. So we can bring it up, and there we go. We've got our fire. And we've got our girl composited in our little Deep Pixel stuff, and we didn't have to use any masks, anything, and it's beautiful. Now, you can also do other stuff, but before I get too far, there's another tool for recoloring. So let's say you did all this work and you had to redo this render to change it out, to change colors for whatever reason. Now, as long as you don't change the actual render itself, meaning the models and the placement and the Z depth of anything, and just change color, you can do that and replace all this pixel color data in here as well. And the way you would do that is first, let me go ahead and grab a recolored image. And it can be anything. It doesn't actually have to be a deep pixel. It can just be a PNG. It could be a JPEG if you want, as long as it has that color information. So for example, we've got this and we recolored this footage to a super bright sunny day instead of being dark like this. So instead of having to redo everything, we could just bring our little scene here, our little PNG file. And to be able to do that, what I need to do is I need to add a recolor after our original image here. So I could just go after our original image. And if I go to recolor, add that there, and grab the image we want to change color to. If I plug that in and go to our demerge, you notice it's all new colors. And even if I go to my merge 3D, it's all new colors. And the minute I disconnect that, it's back to our original colors. Plug it back in, we got the new colors. So that's the way that works. As long as you don't actually change in your modeling or any location or your camera or anything, you can just use a different color image, PNG. You can bring it into Photoshop, change it if you want. Now, just mind you, that's going to recolor everything. So for example, if I was to bring in just a background, and let's say this was orange, and I input it, everything just changed orange because it just recolored all those pixels. If I go to my merge 3D, you can see all of our data is there, but all of our pixels are just now orange. So let's get rid of those. Now you can also do stuff like change the sky. So if we go to our little merge 3D here and we zoom way out, you can see we actually have our sky way back here is our sky. And there's a couple other elements mixed in with that, but we can replace this. So for example, I could grab a new sky. Let's say we wanted this one. I can hit shift space, image to deep. So now that's a deep image information. And of course, remember we want our transform, and we can plug that into our demerge. If we go to our merge 3D, or if we go to our demerge, it's going to cover everything. But if we go to our merge 3D, we need to bring this way back on our Z depth. So if I go to our transform and I bring this, say, way back to like 50, you see it's right there. It's still not far enough, but we can type in here and I can type like 800 and it's going to bring it way back there. It's a little too far. So 790 maybe. And if we look at our little demerge, we've got our new sky there. And I can actually transform this up if I wanted to. So I'm getting more of those clouds in it. Then of course I can even add a shift space D color corrector. And then my color corrector, I can change this hue up if I want. Make it a little orangish. There we go. I can even bring our gamma down a little bit so it's a little darker. And there we go. We've got a new sky. And I can do that as on here as well. So if I need to add a D color corrector, I can add a color corrector on there. If I bring the gain up a little bit, I can. So there we go. Bring our gamma down a little bit, our gain up. And then we can fix her too, so she mixes in a little more. So we can add a shift space D color corrector after our little actress there. Then here we can bring her down a little bit so she mixes in a little better. And there we go. We've got our little our deep to pixel animation going, and playback is going to be slow, but you can see it's playing back correctly. Our little model is moving. Our fire is moving. We didn't have to do any masking because we put it all in our little 3D area here so you can see where to put it. Now, when you're all done with everything, like I said, we're pretty much done with this area over here, this little 3D area. This is just, like I said, for us to composite correctly. So to be able to come out, we could just go straight to our media out. And if we go to our little edit page, you can see we've got our footage there. Now, if you want to do any extra color correcting after our little demerge, we have to change this. So we'd have to add a deep to image node. So it goes from deep pixel data to regular image information, and then we could start using regular nodes. Like we can add a blur node to blur it up a little bit, so maybe 0.5, so it's not so crisp. And then we can add a shift space film look creator maybe. Let's add that, and let's just go with our little bleach bypass there. So now we got a bleach bypass. I don't know, maybe not, maybe Aurora. I don't know, whatever you want, but you can change it. And now if we go, we've got our little footage there, all done, all composited using Deep Pixel information. So have fun playing with it, and that is Deep Pixel Compositing.